you doing, Obiajulu?
Amazing and grateful.
Your hair is beautiful.
Thank you. School has resumed. They had the half term. I had to pick my daughter. She was home. I enjoyed her company.
Wow.
She's
like a new best friend.
Yeah, she's acting all mature. Aww. So yesterday we had to go back to school to drop her off. And I was like, oh. And the younger brother can't wait to go to that school. I said, Oga, calm down.
You guys are like sisters now because she's great older.
My height, so
yeah, she's like, you guys
wears my clothes now.
And I was saying that does it get easier every time you take her back to school? It's still the same.
No, it gets easier. She didn't even say bye for that.
Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's good. Oh, cool.
And you have exams today, right?
No, actually, I had exams on Saturday.
Okay.
I had two papers. Good. It was not bad. I was a bit slightly disappointed because I studied. I mean, when I say I studied and you expected your professor to give you one get question. The question is a bit pedestrian.
Be careful.
No, all of us studied.
I remember then when you say, I studied, this exam was too simple, then you now see the result. Until let's wait for the result first. Thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like that back then.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, so today I'm going to the social media week. I know TVC also has I'm going to be a panelist.
That's the same thing as you're the panel.
But TBC also has a session. I think it's been hosted by Mr. Wokwe from Wake Up Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes. It's going to be having a panelist also, and I'll also be a panelist for the Guardian papers. They're having their own social media, their own section. So it's making interesting. I'll be there for 12:30. So for those of you that are interested in this conversation around hate speech and impact in society, it will be nice to have that conversation with you. Let's go on the break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the news. People stay with us. We'll be right back. Right. We're going to start with the nation. Governors upset by excess crude account depletion. Boko Haram burns churches as Buhari orders aggressive campaign. CBN sets rules for domiciliary accounts. NERC begins consultation on new electricity tariff. Ex-naval director forfeits 500 million naira to federal government. Sacked council chiefs reject Oyo governor's offer. And begging not Islamic, says Emir Sanusi. Let's start with the major headline, the excess crude account. What's that about?
Yeah, so governors are worried and concerned about the depletion of the excess crude accounts just in 1 month from 325 million to 70 million. And they're saying that usually when withdrawals are made from this account, all stakeholders need to be informed, and they were not informed. And also there's a story which went out. I took the story last time where it says that it had to do with governors insisting on getting, their deductions paid to them. And they're saying, well, we're not aware of this. This is not the story. We're not aware of this particular information. And there's a NEC meeting holding on Thursday. So this is one of the things that they'll be raising at that meeting. Okay. Also, the sudden upsurge of Boko Haram attacks this year, they want to talk about it. They're still going to talk about whether service chiefs will be retained or changed.
Right.
And also they want to look at how to reconcile the oil receipts and allocation. So those ones will help them know.
Oh, fantastic. Good. Let's take Emir Sanusi.
So this lovely Emir again, more firmly this time and more assertively spoke against the Almajiri system and insisting that form of education where begging is inculcated into it is totally not Islamic. And he quoted the Quranic verses in support of it, saying that, there are two sayings in Islam. Number one, begging out of laziness and of habit is not encouraged in Islam, and the consequence is there in the hereafter. Also, begging is, the Prophet said, the hands that give is always on top. So a giver always grows, whereas a beggar always remains where he is. And he talked firmly against it. And I love the fact that the Sultan of Sokoto also joined him to speak against it. And he didn't just talk about our majesty, he talked about all the other encouraging factors, which is a broken family system where a father is not responsible. Like the Quran insists, there should be a head of family, and that head of family is a protector and provider of his family. So fathers should start to take deliberate effort to run their families properly, so that their women are not incapacitated and their children don't end up begging as well.
Let's
so
move on
extended
to
it.
Punch. Well done to the Northern leaders. The Punch, Labour, NBA, others flay Buhari for backing National Assembly's jumbo pay. How SARS caused death of Remo Stars footballer, says eyewitness. UI Don adapts hip-hop to solve mathematics problems. Residents flee Adamawa town as Boko Haram threatens fresh attacks. I'm not frightened by gang-up in APC, says Ekeredolu. Ekiti threatens to prosecute as commissioner accuses teacher of raping pupils. Dangote invests 63 billion naira in Enugu-based automaker, buys 3,500 trucks. APC Governors Forum DG Rights Panel blames Oshomole for crisis. Okay, let's talk about the human interest first.
Yes, so
Sani
Abubakar is a principal witness to the death of Remo. That's a star football club player, Tiamiyu Kazim.
Kaka.
So, Kaka,
Also
yes,
known
okay,
as
they call him Kaka. So according to his side of the story, because the police had initially said that while they made an arrest, he decided he was trying to run away from them. So he jumped out of the vehicle and then an oncoming vehicle hit him. But the Abubakar is saying that that's actually not what happened, that they were picked up where they went to buy engine oil. Their phones were searched. They claimed to be taking them to the SARS office. They passed that area. They didn't even get into the office. But then something happened and he was pushed out of the vehicle. Not that he decided to jump out of the vehicle, but the governor
pushed into an oncoming vehicle and murdered.
Lost his life. Yeah, when they had to take him to the hospital. When he got there, he was rejected and all of that. Yeah, so but the governor is saying that investigations are ongoing at the moment. They are going to get the culprit and they will ensure that
please,
major headlines.
Major headline.
Major headline,
yes.
Labour.
Okay, sorry, the picture story, I mean.
Yeah, picture story, residents
the residents in Adamawa, this particular town, Garkida town, on Friday was attacked by Boko Haram, and they said Boko Haram attacked for 6 to 7 hours and nobody came to their rescue. No police, no military came to their rescue. And on Sunday, they are fleeing the town because Boko Haram has further threatened them that they'll be back. Everybody's on foot because there are no vehicles on the road. You know, the eyewitnesses were saying, the military is saying that they came as soon as they could and killed insurgents, and some of them fled. But eyewitnesses said no insurgents were killed in front of them, that they did what they had to do and they left. And the insurgents also seemed to be particular not to kill civilians, but they killed, I think, 3 soldiers. A few civilians were hurt in running, helter-skelter, but it seemed that they were targeting military when they came to town.
Well, and in a related story, they had threatened our president not to come to the northern area. I think in the video by Shakab, and the army has said that those are empty threats, that the president can go anywhere he chooses.
I'm sure they won't test it.
The UI story, who has that hip-hop?
Yes,
what was that about?
So this lecturer of UI is a lecturer of the Department of Early Childhood Education, Dr. Ishola Salami. He invented a hip-hop song to solve mathematical problems, saying that, he learned this because children, when they listen to the beats of hip-hop, they don't forget the lyrics. But, mathematics has been taught abstractly and with a lot of rules, people keep forgetting. So he's incorporated that
That's good.
into education.
Awesome.
I'd like to check that online to see what it's
I'd like to see a video.
Moving on to Daily Sun very quickly. Governors to appoint CPs in Senate's police master plan. Catholics to wear black on Ash Wednesday over insecurity. Enugu Airport, fresh fears over reopening date. Bayelsa, my deputy has no forgery case, says Governor Diri. Let's start with the master plan for state police.
Yes.
It's supposed to have here.
So
go ahead.
the former Senate Deputy President has brought out this bill that would create State Police Service Commission, National Police Service Commission, and it will create state police commissioners. So the details of the bill is that the governors of each state now has powers with the recommendation of the National Police Service Commission to appoint CPs for Commissioner of Police per state, and they would run a state police system under this bill that is going on first reading today. That's his proposal.
And also, in addition to that, that's subject to confirmation by the State House of Assemblies.
Yes.
And if there's an issue of maybe where they are being asked to do things they're not supposed to do, there's a commission that will be established where they now go to directly, who then looks at it and see if
that's their own state service commission.
Their own state service commission will then look at it. Let's move on.
Catholics are being urged to wear black on Ash Wednesday to just, mourn our brothers and Christian brothers and sisters that have been kidnapped, killed, just lost their lives through this insecurity and violence that has besieged our country. So in warning them we should wear black on Wednesday, especially Catholics who will be starting Lent on Wednesday.
Let's pick the Enugu airport story.
Yes, so there are fears that the airport may not be ready for the first week in April. The federal that's the Enugu airport rehabilitation. So the federal government had already promised that by the first week of April, the airport will be ready in time for Easter. But they are saying that there are concerns. For instance, they are expecting to have paid 30% additional to the 40% to the contractors to carry out. They said they needed some dust for asphalt, something like that for the runways. Okay. And they are saying that so far so good. The quarries that are supposed to be producing are now producing 2,000 tons of the dust, while they need 1,005 daily.
For raw materials.
Yes, raw materials basically.
Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Why presidency should return to South in 2023, says El Rufai. Dangote Group invests 63 billion in Southeast economy. Serap sues Gbajabiamila reps over plan to spend 5 billion on 400 exotic cars by National Assembly. And Obaseki Oshomole's feud worsens as APC leaders differ on attack. Let's take the major headline. El Rufai is speaking.
The governor of Kaduna State said that it will be unjustifiable after President Buhari has done 8 years for presidency to return to the north. So he's saying that on the basis of fairness and fair play, that they should return it to the south. He went on history recounting how after President Yar'Adua, President Jonathan had this time, and then he came to President Buhari, and now he should come back to the south.
He didn't say either southwest or southeast. We just said south.
Which of the
I
states
like how
in the
he
south?
did that, because then you Southerners now
decide.
No, don't worry, we're already doing permutations. Permutation for 2020.
Yeah, so there are various factors that then determine who becomes.
But this next story, Dangote has invested. Yes. So his group is in a long-term agreement with this Enugu-based automaker. It's called Transit Support Service Limited. So they assemble Shackman trucks, and so far since the inception, Dangote has gotten 3,500 trucks, and he says that comes to about 63 billion naira that has been invested in the southeast, because people like Dangote have foresight and understand that money needs to be invested in your country, and then more will be done, and then everybody will be fine. It just reminds me of a tennis song. My papa no be Dangote, but go day okay, because this is what he's doing.
And what he has done is also ensure that the trucks have been assembled in the Anambra Motor Manufacturing Company. So it's important.
Yes, to say that.
To say that.
Okay, yes. So there are two important information about that. That plant had been closed down for many, abandoned for many years. So the new policy has brought about the resurgence. So there's more work provided for Nigerians because of this.
House of Reps, Toyota Corolla, House of Reps.
You can see it.
See example.
Let me just tell you, just in case he's watching. They want to buy 5 billion naira worth of cars. Maybe you should cook the Dangote cars. Honestly. It might be a good idea. Since they don't want to know.
Dangote is still doing trucks. Innocent don't already do cars.
Exactly. They should buy that.
They offer them Innocent.
And they can give you brand new
advocated for
2020.
But since they're complaining about Innocent, let Dangote do his own car. Maybe they'll accept that. Because honestly,
speaking of, in that regard,
final paper. Can I do Serap? I can't take Serap. Unfortunately, we have to run. That's all we can take on front page. But Serap is actually suing, for that car matter. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, we'll discuss a few other hot topics. Or your state is hot. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. According to the reports, the Oyo government has taken control of all their motor parks in the state following a ban on the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, by Governor Seyi Makinde. Now, this action is allegedly followed by security breaches and factional clashes of the union members in some areas of Ibadan. Joining us on the show are representatives of NURTW in Oyo State Chapter, that's Mr. Suleiman Musa and Mr. Kayode Agbenyoji. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
And also on the phone, we have the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Seyi Makinde via the phone, and Mr. Taiwo Adisa. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
I can hear you.
Yeah, thanks for joining the show. So, for those of you watching from home, you can call us after this conversation on 07080668014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag TVC so we can read your tweets. Okay, welcome, gentlemen. And we've read in the reports that you recently gave the government a 7-day ultimatum concerning after they banned the NURTW in Oyo State. Could you tell us why it was necessary to give that ultimatum?
It is not actually after the ban.
Okay.
The so-called suspension of activities in Oyo State parks has been on for almost 9 months.
Okay.
It was only immediately after the establishment of parks managers, which we view as a way of pushing out our members. And we have mentioned that times without number. We have had been in contact with the government of the state ever since the assumption of the office of the present administration. So we now wonder how such step will be taken.
Was there a reason given, sir?
Up till now, to us as a body of the union, up till now, no reason. We read a lot of things on the pages of the newspaper, on the social medias, but for the government of the state, formally inviting the union and the union leadership to at least come to the round table and have a chat.
So I want to understand the governor's side a bit, because you know the activities of NURTW is largely, even in Lagos, smeared with a bit of violence. Anytime there's a change of leadership, there's always a resistance from another faction and factions like that. If the governor thinks that security is, such things to breach security, it might be a ground. Don't you agree?
Actually, there hadn't been any breach of peace so far, but probably, you know, insinuation will just go around as early as...
the past 1 year, in that 9 months, when you did change administration, leadership...
No crisis. You know, we lost our former chairman, Alhaji Taufik Oyerindefele. So ever since we bereaved of the man, the union at the headquarters is very much in control of the activities of the union in Oyo State.
Let me speak to Mr. Taiwo Adisa. Good morning. Are you still there, sir? Mr. Adisa? Mr. Adisa, okay, I think we just lost him. Okay, we'll come back to him. Yes, Mariam.
Yeah, so my question is, it seems that the new park managers, isn't this something that will be better for Oyo State in the long run? And does it not include your participation in this new thing that was formed?
Actually, we were not involved.
Okay, so who are these new people?
We don't know. I think probably they are party men that are not actually members of our union. Because if it is going to be on the basis of the organization of the NURTW, the leadership of the union at the headquarters, we have even moved to the government, where the government has advised we should bring all our members together, because that was the fear of His Excellency, that he got noticed, or probably security information, that there are a lot of proliferation of our members in the state. We have different fractions. And at the end of the day, we came up, we identified 6 fractions of the union, jostling for the leadership of the union in the state. We brought them together right in the office of the Commissioner for Works and Transport and Infrastructure in Oyo State. He is to pretend that process.
Okay. I have back the CPS. Sir, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So we've been talking to representatives from the NURTW in Oyo State, and they said that till now there was no formal communication on exactly why they were banned from the parks. Could you tell us exactly why?
Why they were banned?
Yes, why they were banned.
Yeah, very well. The ban on NURTW was not something that came by surprise to people of Oyo State in May last year, because prior to the inauguration of Governor Seyi Makinde, the story in town, all over Oyo State, was that the state will be born, that there will not be peace. A lot of people fled the state ahead of the inauguration. So it was as if hell would be let loose. Immediately, Governor Seyi Makinde was one because they say NURTW people will strike. That means they will put the state in trouble.
Sir.
Put the state in crisis. That was the story all over the place.
Sorry, sir.
Not even the elderly, the young and the old. Everybody got.
Okay, can I hold you for a quick second?
Yes, I need to ask this question. So are you saying that this ban was based on rumor around town, not intelligence?
It wasn't rumor. If you know this,
you said the story around town, sir. You didn't say that, based on intelligence.
Yes, I said the story around town, which made people to flee. That many people to flee the town at that time was that yes, NURTW, because of the history of NURTW, and to practicalize this, right in the morning of the day when Governor Seyi Makinde was being inaugurated in the stadium at Liberty Stadium, they clashed. Some of their factions clashed right there at the stadium. And right inside the stadium, we're hearing stories, reports that some people were macheted, some people sustained gunshots.
All right, let me pause for a second. One second.
So immediately before Governor Seyi Makinde went ahead to do read his speech, he had already got wind of that. So immediately, as he was reading his speech, first speech to the people, he told them, well, NURTW has to be banned. And that was it.
Let me pause you for a second. Let me get a question. Hang in there, sir.
Return to the state, immediately that was done.
All right, hang in there.
So this action actually seems like revenge, but that's not the question I'm about to ask you. Now, the media carried it that you people are trying to mop up funds in the states to generate revenue. And one of the ways you can do that is to ban them so that all the funds go straight to the state, right? Shouldn't you have...
Well,
that's what the media has said.
I don't know why the audio is going suddenly faint. But then I heard something about park managers. The story is simple. The park manager is a unique policy that was inaugurated by this government of Engineer Seyi Makinde. Now, the story around the parks is always that governments will put up, local governments will put up parks, state governments will put up parks, and they will not gain anything from it. It's been like that over the years. And there are some people who stay as leaders of those parks and be feeding fat on everybody. Now, we now said that no, it should not continue like that. Let government that put up this park, let it benefit also from the parks. And so that was the idea of the state park managers. Apart from that, because of the kind of money that comes out of the parks, so control has also been an issue, whereby every government that comes in, you have to see machete and gunshots, and guns from people who control this park to take over one faction or the other, fighting themselves and trying to take over the parks. So we said this should not continue. Then initially, Governor Seyi Makinde put a ban on NURTW, and he said, and that brought a lot of peace because people commended the idea and said, look, that's an idea that will bring peace.
I have to go on a break.
Now, this park manager issue, it has so many clauses in it. One is a way of mopping up funds and chopping up the IGI. Okay. That's just one of
Understood.
It. The other one.
I have to go on a quick break, sir. Let me put you on hold for a quick second. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Mr. Adisa, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, we actually wanted to finish up with the question. Go ahead.
So just to follow up, now, instead of an outright ban, shouldn't you have worked together with the union in such a way that they pay back some percentage to you, since you are trying to mop up funds?
Well, I think if you ask that question, you will be jumping the gun. There's a crisis within the NURTW in Oyo State. And that crisis was, at that time, threatening the peace of the people of Oyo State. So first of all, the governor has to, they say when trees fall on trees, you have to carry the first one, the one on top. So the one on top is the immediate threat to security of the state. Not once, not twice, the Security Council of the state met on this NURTW issue. So the first issue is not how to share the sharing formula for or whatever funds that is coming in. But the first issue is how do we secure our people to ensure that this NURTW does not put everybody in
Okay, let me get another question in for you very quickly.
Just one.
Yeah,
just one last question. From what you just explained, does that mean that this park manager thing then is temporary until they sort themselves, NURTW sorts themselves out? Is it permanent? Or is this permanent?
The question is not really clear, but I was also making a point on whether we were going to have a sharing formula or not. But the point is that let the NURTW in Oyo State find solutions to his own problems. They met with Governor Seyi Makinde in company of their leaders from Abuja at the national level. And the governor in company with security council members gave them some conditions that, well, if you can guarantee peace and you go and sign an accord within yourselves and all the camps are involved, then I have no problem with you. I will leave the ban. So they should not come to the issue of, oh, they're sharing formula or not sharing formula.
That answers the question.
The issue to resolve is that have they find solution to the problem?
All right, one second. So let's direct that question to them. All right, sir. So based on what the CPS has said, when you were told that if you are able to sort your internal issues, that this ban will be lifted, what have you done so far?
Thank you. We have been in Oyo, even for more than 1 month, having meetings, brought the 6 group together, right in the office, because our office is even being sealed. And how does the office get sealed? Somebody who is claiming he has worked for the governor went without any fracas, take over the office of the administrative office of the union at the state at 1 o'clock in the dead of the night. And that was what they calculated as being something on ground to work on. And that of what happened on the day of swearing in, the people of the Oyo State, all the people of the Oyo State, be it driver or whoever, they will go and identify with the governor and the new administration in the state. All our members were there. It is this so-called person that equally went and attacked.
This person, please mention, because we're talking about about 500 deaths.
Mukaila Lamidi, aka Auxiliary.
The former chairman?
He's just been a caretaker chairman for long, but he's no longer...
But Auxiliary is supposed to be with the governor's team, sir?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to hear.
Yes.
Is this with the park managers now?
Yes.
They appointed him
as disciplinary chairman.
So we don't know what discipline is going to give. Is he disciplining himself? And like what the CP said, we were in Oyo, where we identified 6 groups, including Auxiliaries group. We met the Commissioner for Works, Transport and Infrastructure. They provided office for us at the ministry. That is where we used to meet and discuss.
Sir,
and at the end, let me finish. Okay. At the end, after all of them, because before then, they don't even greet. But we bring them together, they harmonize, they agree, they embrace themselves, and they have agreed.
Have you conveyed this settlement to the governor now?
Even in the presence of the security agencies.
Yes.
Even the SSS representative were there throughout the exercise, 2 weeks.
The commissioner of police representative is there. Even the commissioner for works and transport, the last day, he come and addressed us. And he asked questions, they have agreed. They said whoever becomes the leader amongst them, they are ready to support him.
So as a body, are you willing, because we know, of course, that you get your money, what they call the Agbero dues and all that you take from your puters. Are you willing now to submit that to the governor, because revenue is a major issue as well as security?
Yes, even when we are there, government are collecting their revenue.
What percentage, sir?
No, there is ticket.
Okay.
That each member or each vehicle pay.
To the local government.
Daily.
Or the state.
There is that of the state and there is that of the local government.
So IGR wasn't affected really by all this?
At all.
Is that what you're saying? The IGR was never affected?
The issue now is the membership dues. We don't know whether they want to include the issue of membership dues to be part of the revenue.
The elephant in the room right now, just quickly, is violence. Whether we like it or not, when we talk about NURTW in Oyo State, it seems to be, as you used, smeared with violence. And we have the, he gave an example of during the inaugural ceremony and the people that were killed. We need to talk to that. Maybe that is even the main reason this is being formed. These new park managers are being formed.
Not at all.
So there's no violence?
There were skirmishes of violence because, you know, some people have had the thought that they work for the government and they are not in the system, so to say. Let me say this person has been expelled from the union based on his past activities. Okay. So he's been expelled. He has never shown a sign of remorse. Either writing a letter of apology to the national headquarters, for the headquarters to call both the NAC and the National Executive Council to review his activities. That has not been done.
What is the national union of road traffic? That's the federal one for the entire country. What are they saying? Are they standing by you on this, or they're leaving you to your fate?
They are standing by the state union.
Okay, let me come back to Mr. Adisa, because Mr. Adisa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
So you heard what the reps have said so far. According to them, there haven't been any issues of violence. So far, I would like you to address this issue, because what we are hearing getting from you is that your governor's decision wasn't totally based on intelligence, more on rumors, which you did not engage the NURT officially to confirm these rumors. Yeah. But you took an action. That's what's coming across to us. Please help us understand.
Well, if that's what's coming across to us, that's part of the problem of communication. You know, some people don't hear what you say, and some people hear what you say wrongly. No, I didn't say that whatever the governor did was not based on intelligence. No. If you say...
You said the word around town.
Well, if you say talk around town, how does intelligence crop up? People in the intelligence sector pick things from here and there. And so when they pick it up, they analyze it and see which one is vital and which one is not vital.
So did you engage NURT officially after that intelligence?
Pick up the story around town to say, oh, this is what these people are going to do and whatever. And then they analyze it to be credible enough. So it became part of the policy. It led to a policy statement.
Mr. Adisa?
Story about that. Now, the simple story to tell about this NURTW I told you is that they should sort out the internal crisis within them.
It has been done.
Now, they were saying
the internal crisis has been sorted out, sir. According to what you're saying.
We have said their own, and let me also tell you what is on ground here. Now, the basic problem, they were talking about, tickets being given to state and local government and all that. You agree with me here, and we know here that things around parts are not formalized. Whether tickets are being given to anybody or whatever, you don't know where the money is going to. No money. Because if the state has been duly giving its own due and whatever, the state will not be concerned about how do we mop up funds from that sector. No. But the state has not been getting its own due. The local government has not been getting its own dues. So whether some people pay their tickets in whatever name or not, we don't know. So that's why we now came to the point of let us formalize this thing. How do we manage the parks in a way that everybody will be proud of it? The parks have been there for years, and you cannot really call them parks. Are those parks? No conveniences, nothing to really write home about. So we now want to take
2 questions quickly,
from
sir.
where it is now.
2 questions, sir.
A point where you can be proud of, where you can talk of, even the railway stations abroad and all that.
Mr. Adisa, hold on a minute, sir.
Okay,
2 questions
we have to round up, sir. Let me just hold you for a second.
2 questions, sir.
With their union.
2 questions, sir.
All right.
Skirmishes and violence in the state.
Mr. Hang on. Nima, sir, give me 1 second, please. I need to get 2 questions into before we run up. Yes.
Okay.
So, 2 questions, sir. Skirmishes and violence around the states could also be due to cultism, which is very rampant now in Nigeria and largely in the southwest.
Well, you are not talking
so I would like you to clarify based on what intelligence you gathered that they were responsible for what happened at the inaugural.
I was not the intelligence officer that wrote.
Hold on a minute, sir. The second question, sir. Have you thought about, the prototype followed the Lagos State, which is to buy their own buses, which is the BRT, and partner with private sector to invest in transport system as an alternative to the NURTW rather than just, destroying the leadership?
They say, we can't just copy what they are in Lagos. We do what is right for your state.
For your
that's
state.
one.
Okay, that's
The other one about whether the report about violence. If you have studied the story of Oyo State and NURTW, you will know that every governor that came in at one point or the other banned NURTW. The immediate past governor of Oyo State banned NURTW at a point. Because of the issue of violence, there have been reports of there have been stories of their former chairman killed, their leader, another leader killed, another whatever. So
we have to round up on this, Mr. Adisa, but I have to ask you about the 7-day ultimatum. What is the government doing about this ultimatum? Mr. Adisa, I have to go on a break, but I have to ask about the ultimatum. What's the government doing about the ultimatum given to you by the NURTW?
The ultimatum, we don't have any ultimatum on the table of Oyo State. Okay. The ultimatum was say Southwest NURTW. Southwest NURTW, they are not stakeholders in Oyo State.
Okay.
They are stakeholders in their different states.
All right, that's
so let them have dealings with their governors in the state. Right. The NURTW of Oyo State is banned. And if you want to have a relationship with Oyo State governor, they know the channel by which they can reach Oyo State governor.
All right, thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on this. I do apologize. That's all we can take. But thank you very much for coming to the show. We have to go on a break now. When we come back, we have another topic to discuss. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So recently, more than 1,400 Boko Haram repentant members have been reintegrated into society by the military through Operation Safe Corridor program. Recently, the Senate began deliberations on the bill that seeks to establish an agency that would see to the rehabilitation of these repentant insurgents. However, this proposed bill has since generated quite a bit of mixed reactions. Joining us on the show is a retired Colonel, Tony Inyam. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
And we have with us on the phone Professor Onibankole Fagbongbe. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning. I'm here.
He's the head of the Department of Psychology, University of Lagos. Welcome to the show, sir. Right, let's start with the Colonel. Good morning. Thanks for being on the show.
Sure.
Now, the issue of repentant Boko Haram was received by a lot of reactions and objections also. People just felt that, how can you bring back these people into the society? As a man who's been in the trenches, you've been there, do you believe that there's a need to actually have these repentant Boko Harams rehabilitated and brought back into society?
I think the thing is, first, in any society, there's always what is called PSYOPs operations, psychological operations, which one does in a kind of the war we were going through, which is an unconventional war. And in that, there is the principle of trying to win the hearts and mind of the public, and at times. But in all this, when you do this, you have to do this only when you are in. You see, there is something when you get into the plane, you are told before you help anybody, you strap up first.
Help yourself first.
Now, here in our own case, I think it's too premature to rush into this. That's one. Two, the people, if you watch, all the stakeholders have kicked against it. Senator Ali Ndume kicked against it, and he's from that part of the country. Also, a rep, I think in Plateau, also kicked against it. The reason is, what is happening is that I would have thought that the victims of terrorism who are still in ID camps and the soldiers themselves who are not well catered for in operations, they should have been dealt with first. And before coming to this issue of dealing with repentant. All right, nothing wrong with that. But you see, I think we should not be copying what is done in some country outside mechanically. That's what I would say.
Yeah, so I understand that this is called, it's called DDR. So disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration is actually like an initiative of the UN, who is a leading partner in doing this. But I also understand that it's also context specific, as you say. So this issue that we have of the victims and also the families of probably fallen soldiers, what are we doing? But can't it be done alongside this rehabilitation and reintegration? Does it have to be one over the other?
I think the thing is, we have to be careful. Now, in our context in that part of the country, there's a lot of poverty. Now, if in rehabilitating someone, you give someone a better standard of living than where he left, then it becomes an incentive. And so the cry of the victims and the cry of the politicians in that area are saying that this is not good. It will be an incentive for many more people to go into it. And secondly, you see, the kind of challenges we have, these are people who are driven by ideology. And anybody driven by ideology cannot be bribed by material thing. So what the system would have done is to go into working with the clerics to try to radicalize by teaching them the correct de-radicalize them through using the clerics and other agency. But the rush to integrate them, I'm not saying nothing wrong with that, but you see, we have to be very careful, and because otherwise people will feel that you are giving advantage to. So
the argument for is that this was the same system used to sort out the Niger Delta militancy at the time. What's the big deal about what they're doing now for the Boko Haram?
I'm from Niger Delta. I think it is an insult to compare them. Niger Deltans and Lagos feed this country. Let's not make a mistake about it. These people, their territory, their land being destroyed forever. And they give this country almost 95% if you remove the invisible earnings that comes through Lagos. So to now equate Niger Delta with that is most. And Niger Delta person did not go out to go and bomb anybody somewhere. So what I know is that even the locals, the victims in these areas, are not happy. So I think we need to deal with this matter is that...
So the apples and oranges, we can't compare. Let me quickly come back to the psychologists, because one of the issues, Professor, one of the issues people have, the fear people have expressed is how do you de-radicalize an organization that is built on an ideology? Yeah, is that even possible?
Is it possible?
As a psychologist, would you be able to answer that question?
Thank you very much. It is a Herculean task. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. Why? Number one, every behavior has a purpose. And behind every behavior is need a satisfaction. And these are people whose minds have been conditioned to behave in a particular way. And when they do that, they get a satisfaction. You now want to de-radicalize them. Anything that has gone into our behavioral repertoire is difficult to remove. Therefore, what I will want the government to do, they shouldn't rush into the radicalization. They should plan it very well, because there are so many people involved. The soldiers who are dying, their relations, the victims of the Boko Haram and all these, there are so many. Not only that, we also have those whose life has been destroyed because of this Boko Haram.
Right.
Yeah. Now, bring the Boko Haram, the perpetrator of all those things, and say you are radicalizing them, it's not going to work, because you cannot kill people's feelings. You cannot kill people's perception. You cannot kill people's anticipation.
All right, point taken, sir. Go ahead, point. Yeah.
So I understand that this is a wrong move as a psychologist, because the truth is, by the time they are released into the society, they become vulnerable and become targets. And naturally, what I expected the government to do was to put them in a place where they act as intelligence to help win this war. Now, as a psychologist, what's the process you think naturally it will take to change their ideology if the government is serious about this?
You see, in changing people's behavior, there are 3 stages involved.
Okay.
First of all, you have to remove that undesirable behavior. These 3 processes will occur simultaneously, because if you do one and you are waiting to do the second one, there is the high probability of the one you have removed going back. So as you are removing, we call it decreasing. We call it in psychology decreasing, because that thing you want to remove is already in the behavioral repertoire of that person. So it takes time. It's like you want to remove a meat from your freezer. You have to defreeze if it has become glued to the freezer. Then as you are removing, you are replacing. Elimination by substitution. You are replacing. As you are replacing, then you are also stamping in. You are replacing. If you follow these 3 processes, then the probability that we will change the behavior is high.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Yeah, let me come back to Connor for a second, sir, because let's be fair.
Sure.
Many people say these are also Nigerians, and there are some of them that are actually truthfully repentant. There are many of them, even from the 1,400, many of them actually were rounded up. They're not actually people when they were not convicted Boko Haram members. Some were just rounded up. Now, for those who are genuinely repentant, don't they deserve that fair hearing to actually be reconciled to the society? Because it's all like, we all say, crucify them. We don't want to see them. But some of them are genuinely repentant.
No. I mean, they use the word repentant. Yes. Repentant wouldn't have been, there's a mix-up. There are those who may have been arrested wrongly. Those are not the ones we're talking about. Yes. Yeah. Those ones, obviously, it is injustice to do anything. But those who were really terrorists, who became that, no one is saying that they should not be. They can't be. But you see, first, there is very much limited resources. You have a case where there are people who, over the years, are still in camps. There are people who have lost, I have lost 3 family members, soldiers, in the Northeast. And check, so with all this, and their wives have left. Some of them, in fact, they died, they didn't even tell the family members. So the issue is, I would have thought that you should deal with this first. And I take the point that some may be useful intelligence agents and so on. There are ways of dealing with that.
Yeah. Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So Nima had a question for the break. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to understand, because we're talking
rehabilitation.
Deradicalization. So recently, the northern elites, a Muslim group, I think, I can't remember, it was in the paper saying that, that they think that is a time, they advise the president that they should have a face-off with Boko Haram. Since Boko Haram is largely putting their ideologies basis on the Islamic religion, and that, and they seem to have every excuse in the book, which is not, that they think they should bring their scholars or whoever is behind their knowledge-based ideology, if it's truly knowledge-based, to come and have a face-off with the scholars of Islam in Nigeria who have the same knowledge, so that they can have a kind of knowledgeable argument where the people who are just adopting these ideologies will see exactly how baseless it is. Is that an alternative that you think government should take?
Obviously. Obviously. I think that is so. I remembered when they were radicals in the church, sorry, the mosque, Regent Park in London, and other clerics came up to take on the so-called extremists. And the great thing about it is, some of us were very curious in that Islam itself, the word Islam, it's
peace.
Peace. So, and the teachings, some of us, even though I'm not a Muslim, but I've taken time to read the Quran. At times I find it very hard where these people get the knowledge from that made them. I think people use the excuse of religion. Muslims, Christians, at times use the knowledge of religion. After all, people justify slavery with Christianity.
Yes.
So I think that's what you're suggesting is what the government should be doing, is to allow the people to own the fight. At the moment, where you take soldiers from different parts of the country to a place, there are times appear like forces of occupation. I would have thought that the JTF, the Civilian Justice Task Force, should play more role. They should be trained and armed. In other words, just as the governor of Borno is saying, we need to train them, make them soldiers on the ground.
Okay.
And I think that's better.
Now, finally, for Professor, are you still there, sir?
I'm here.
Now, so I'd like you to speak to the government at this moment because obviously people are really uncomfortable. Some people actually felt that we were being a bit too unfair on those repentant Boko Haram members. But as psychologists, what would you think is the best approach to help? How do we find a middle ground with those who are truly repentant and those who we don't want them to be reconciled with society? So where do we find that middle ground as a psychologist? Where do you think we can?
Okay, thank you very much. As I said earlier, the radicalization is not a simple thing.
Okay.
In psychology, we use what is called UFF. That's unfree, replace, and refree. URR. It's not, in this country, you don't just throw people. In psychology, there's what we call law of effect. Law of effect is any stimulus that brings pleasure will be maximized, and anyone that brings a pain will be minimized. That is the law we don't practice here. That is why people are unrepentant. They continue to do wholesome things with impunity. So when we have, especially in counseling, when we have situations like that, we first of all unfreeze. When we unfreeze, we replace. That is, we unfreeze. That is, we remove the undesirable behavior, and we replace it with the desirable. Therefore, when we replace it with the desirable, we ensure that it stays glued there. Therefore, the government needs, a center where these people, not making them to start living among them.
So what you're saying is that it is possible to actually rehabilitate. It's a difficult process, but it is possible.
It is possible.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to get. Okay, we have to run off here.
Yes. So, sir, do you think this is
possible.
a strategy of the government to actually win this war against Boko Haram?
The strategy I would have thought for the government to win the war is that, first of all, there need to be much more. The soldiers, the number of soldiers in the Northeast is too low for the challenge. They need to put in more troops and better equipped. And also they need to use the locals to be much more involved in their own defense.
Okay, final question.
Okay,
Should they change the service chiefs? Go ahead.
Okay. No, ask him.
Should they change?
Yeah.
Everybody is clamoring for them to change the service chiefs. Do you agree?
I have been at the vanguard that, first of all, the president himself was a military man. By breaching the norms of the military, in other words, service chiefs have tenure, it's affecting other officers and it's causing low morale within the army.
God bless you, sir.
No battle.
So he should change.
It should.
Yeah, I had just, I was saying that I watched a few videos and the human angle part of this war would really break your heart. And you mentioned the JTF, and then from the videos, there are lots of people volunteering to join the GTA. Even women are right there in front.
Yes.
People who have lost their husbands have decided to take up
Yeah.
the mantle. So well done to them, but they really do need better weapons because they were taking some arcade.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up, but thank you so much, sir, for coming.
Thank you very much.
That's all we can take. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us on the show. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow.